What's up, everybody? Good morning. For those of you who celebrate, some of you don't celebrate like me. Who's in the chats? Tally's here, Tyler's here, Jenny's here. Might just be one of you. Yeah, that's enough. How's summer going? By the way, if there's only one of you here, you literally have to answer that question before I move on. You literally have to tell me how you're doing. Mine's going okay. Mine's almost over. In about 2 weeks, there will be no more summer left for any of us where I live. But for right now, it's hot as balls, so I'm debating possibly going to the pool today. Now's the best time to go because, of course, all the kids are at the pool. So I can finally go without being that creepy guy who's there at the pool with the pool's full of kids. Talia, you said the summer has lost all its appeal. I think that your perspective is broken. I think you're not thinking about how bad it will be in 6 months' time, right? In January 18th, how cold will it be? It's going to be below zero. Starting to seem more appealing yet? Foxy, good morning. Hello. Chase, good morning. Chase, are you happier today that you will be 6 months from now when it's below zero outside? When it's January 18th and the wild card round of football has just been played and it's bitterly cold outside. Didn't want to miss this, Foxy. I appreciate that. The show was originally scheduled for 10:35, and then I woke up in the middle of the night with searing foot pain and decided I would move the show to 11:30 so I could have more sleep. This a luxury afforded to me by the fact that I am not recording an episode of Comp Center this week. That's right. You guys sad about that? That there won't be any recorded episode of Comp Center? It's because we're going live this week. With what? I'm not sure. I know that Talia is looking forward to the start of the Donna Adelson trial on Tuesday. However, that's going to be jury selection, and I don't think we're privy to that. So, and given that there's going to be hundreds of prospective jurors in a case that has gathered a lot of attention since the murder of Dan Markel, which was in 2014, they've really got their work cut out for them finding a jury that doesn't really know what's going on, and a good jury at that. I mean, you can always find a scumbag under a bridge who has no idea what's going on in the real world, but they're gonna have to try to find a good jury. So yeah, we'll be live on Thursday night. Talia, we actually used to do that every week. We used to do that every single week. The idea of recording Cobb Center had never occurred to us for like the first year and a half, 2 years that we did the show. It wasn't until I finally started to die inside, because every Thursday I would wake up with 4 hours of sleep, come home, and then podcast until whenever. But we'll be live. We'll probably be taking phone calls because why not? And if there's any developments on the Donna Adelson trial, that's probably what we'll be talking about. So we'll be as live then as I am now. Good morning to all of you out there. I will be a jurist. I am FFG, completely impartial. I don't know what FFG means, but it sounds like a swear word. And you are not impartial. Who are you kidding? Don't even pretend. Anyway, I think it's going to be a good time just because it's been a long time since we've gone live, and I always, we did it at the end of the Karen Reed thing, I guess, but we used to do it every week, and I guess for me, it's sort of fun to do it the way that we used to do it, and I think it's going to be good. So, looking forward to that on Thursday. Something to bring your attention to. I know that not everyone cares about this, but some of you might. I was messing around last night since I wasn't too busy because I wasn't getting ready for this show, I created some additional swag just in case you're interested in this. Only one person will be interested in this. This is a riff on the New South Wales Police Force. I've replaced them. This is the comm center, and it says you've played Knifey Spoony before. Only one of you will get that and care. Otherwise, the rest of you, if you care about a Canadian variant of our agency logo, now's the time to get hoodies. Remember, it's going to be cold soon. But you can, if you want to show your pride for Canada, you could, I think, what is it? That's the crown of Saint Michael or something that Drew's wearing. I'm not sure. But I decided to give myself the cooler hat in any event. So the Comm Center, spelled kind of incorrectly, with Drew Breezy, Canada's #1 podcast about America. You guys remember when we were brand new? We were so big in Canada. 10-7 Canoe and all these other guys, these Canadian guys would call into the show. We've always been very big up there. So anyway, now you can get stuff that's themed like the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, I guess. For any of you that are interested in that, perhaps none of you are. I think the mug's especially cool. I'm not sure why. The only thing that's really missing from it is an overt maple syrup reference. But perhaps at some point we'll do that. So anyway, get the Mount Up mug or something, or a t-shirt or a hoodie. And I'm going to go ahead and take some requests. That if you've got an agency logo that you're looking for me to duplicate or replicate or bring into the style of Comm Center, let me know, because I mean, if you're willing to buy it, I'll put in a little bit of time and effort, and it's not as difficult as me taking a fully new commission. That if there's a famous agency or something near you or something like that, I would be happy to morph that for you if you feel like that would be interesting. As long as I'm not getting sued. I'm always going to put that out there that I don't want to get sued. Love the new merch. Shouldn't it be the Comm Center, though? It does say the Comm Center on it. So I don't know why you said that. CENTRE. It says that. So I anticipated your complaint and already adjusted myself. Comm Center. I don't know what kind of appeal this is actually going to have, Drew, because we've got two for sure. Canadians watching this show. Foxy says Boston Police. Okay, I wouldn't mind doing Boston, oldest police department in the country. I'm leaving. You could talk about me all you want. University of Iowa cow tipping organization. I'm not going to invent police departments. That may exist, but I highly doubt it's a police organization. Now this just makes me wonder what that means. But whatever that is, I don't think that has anything to do with me, tell you. So I don't know. I'm not surprised that I would make an offer like that and have no one understand it. All right. Shall we just go to the memes? Let's just do the memes. There aren't that many memes this week, actually, because I was trying to do memes all week, and then there just wasn't that many. I'm not sure what's going on with my algorithm, but there just aren't that many memes going on. So I have once again curated the best collection of memes possible, the memes that I've come across all week. But we do what we can here. And I don't know if you could tell this, but I'm flapjacking to try to get you some extra memes, because I was supposed to download them before the show started. But then, of course, I forgot, because that is exactly what I do. So, but if I can flapjack for a few minutes and then bring you a few more extra memes, that is what I'm going to do. All right. So I'm uploading 9 extra memes. You're welcome, everyone. All right, here's the first meme. Hope I didn't use this one last week. When I say I love the ocean, I mean I love the surface. Whatever goes on beneath has my respect, but it's none of my goddamn business. This is funny to me. It's okay if this isn't funny to you, but I always used to say that I love the sea because I'm from the ocean, from Virginia. In fact, I'm like seriously considering a vacation there. I don't know how to go on vacation in October and November and enjoy the ocean. That is once again my constant problem. But when I took marine biology and I would learn about the fish that are down there, particularly the cuttlefish and various other things, I was always very disgusted. And so I love the ocean, but if it were up to me, I would sweep it clean of all the shit that's in there. Just have it be completely empty. Also, there was a guy when I was very young, and we were kind of friends all throughout grade school. And he was a bit of a comedian. He was funnier than I was at that time, anyway. He grew up to be less funny than me because he could compete. But I remember a joke that he told me once that the ocean was salty because whales have sex in it. This was a tipping point for him because that was probably the last funny joke that he told me. And then after that, he was never funny again. And also, I sort of despised him later on in life for reasons I won't say. But I'm just a petty person like that. All right, cigarettes for dogs. That's what I want. That's my most unique or rare political view. Anyone think that cigarettes should not, the dog should not have cigarettes? You don't think a dog deserves to relax after a long, hard day? My dog driving me nuts this morning. Just standing in the way. Philadelphia man who was awarded $4 million after being wrongfully jailed for 24 years for murder is back in prison for killing a man over a $1,200 drug debt. You could take a man out of prison, but you can't take the prison out of a man. The idea that you would kill someone over $1,200 is a very prison thing to do. Put him back in. He was better off, and so were we. I no longer get up to investigate strange noises. It's whatever. I think this happened last night. I remember a very strange sound. It sounded exactly like a door opening. Like, someone coming into my house. But I was in such terrible pain that I just didn't care. So I just kind of rolled over and went back to sleep. Also, right now, while my floor is being refinished, my gun is not in a very accessible place. So maybe that needs to be changed. On the other hand, I used to have this belief that anyone who came for me got what was coming to them. But now I realize I'm kind of a piece of shit. So maybe it should at least come down to who's the better man in the last second. I don't need to necessarily defend myself. Maybe he's right to try to kill me. Muscle weighs more than fat is what they tell you when they mean, I believe you're exercising, but you still look gross. This is me. Yep. This is one of the biggest sources of vexation in my life. That I go when I work out and I can grow muscles, but losing weight is very hard. And I know that you can't really do both at the same time. And prior to being a podcaster, I had slimmed down quite a bit. But the problem is now, as opposed to say, 8 years ago when I really trimmed down. So I'm 8 years older, and I've got really bad genes for that. If you look at the history of all the men in my family on my mother's side, they're all just real big fat guys. So thanks, everyone. Danny Glover was just 41 when he decided that he was getting too old for the shit. Let that sink in. I'm going to be 41 next month. And so I'm going to start saying that I'm too old for that shit as much as I possibly can. So what kind of comments do we have? People saying hi. Michael Hendricks is here. Michael's one of those ones that didn't know that the show continued, that I never stopped doing Monday mornings, even though I explained it 100 times what was going on. It never got to him. Royal Canadian Mounted Police Cow Tipping Division. I'm not doing the cow tipping thing. I don't know what you. I'm not creating new divisions of things for you. I'm not. I think you missed the point. I'm making comm center swag. Okay, so I will take Iowa State Patrol and then make that comm center. I'm not creating new agencies that are related to cow tipping. I'm about to withdraw the offer. It's my first day back to work after 2 weeks of vacation at the state fair. Boy, that would have been fun. Our fair is only 4 days long. I had a good time. I went out last Thursday during the show. I went out and got a pork sandwich for $9, but it was worth it. 2 corns on the cob. And then it was really hot, so I packed it in. Didn't get any funnel cakes, didn't do any rides or anything. Looked at the animals for about 5 minutes, and then I felt like I was done. A bunch of my family got on a ship and came here, at least two 400 years ago. I'm not sure what that means. 400 years ago? So they came here 800 years ago? And here I am, scared to death of the idea of sailing across the ocean. Back then in wooden ships with sails, yeah. We used to be made of sterner stuff. Our forebears got on a wooden ship with no bathroom and just tins of crackers to eat and rats. And the wind blew them down here, and then they got off the boat, and then like they had no jobs, they had no insurance, they had no place to live. It was like the best thing for them to do that. That was exciting. That was the best prospect for them to succeed. And now it's like we got people crying because EBT doesn't cover their peanut butter cups anymore. This country has failed. Monkeys should not have Pall Malls. Yeah, I'm talking about dogs, though. Shut your mouth. Dana is perfect. Yeah, she's kind of dumb, though. She kind of just stands in the way. I keep my gun on my fridge. That's my kitchen gun. Yeah. However big back in the day they had in the 1630s. However big they had back in the day. You came over in the 1630s? You're that the Hendricks came over here that long ago, because my ancestors didn't come over until like right before the Civil War. So we missed out on that whole revolution thing. We missed out on the whole, at least on one side of my family, missed out on the whole, Constitutional Convention, Articles of Confederation. We missed out on all of that. And then we just showed up in time to get killed fighting both sides of the Civil War. I think one of my ancestors fought for the Illinois militia of some kind. Jonathan, this is very true. I'm a heavy bitch, but I also am a solid bitch. Think Ilona Maher. Thank you for making Jenny heavy and solid. I don't get it at all. I love swimming for exercise, but damn, the politics of the city pool is a burden. Other pool patrons, I always swim in this lane. Wow. Yeah, I don't even know how to deal with that. Probably one of the benefits of swimming in a town where there's fewer than 800 people living here is that I don't have to deal with that. Also, probably benefit of being a man is that most people they don't really confront me about what I'm doing. Cow tipping division is just my attempt at humor. Right. Again, I'm not creating new divisions. Maybe it's really an Iowa joke and it just doesn't translate to me. Anyway, I'm glad you're here, Michael Hendricks. Sorry that you went all those Mondays without, because you didn't have to suffer like that. You should have suffered by being here. The worst part is that the first of my family name came to Boston in the 1630s. How desperate are you to move to Boston? Well, Boston in the 1630s was a small town. No big deal in 1630. I think Boston was probably a much nicer place to live in 400 years ago than it is today. Just a theory. Oh no, we're getting a little too political here. The problem with hate speech laws isn't that hate speech is good. Is that giving government the power to define hate is extremely dangerous. Yes. Sometimes we just have to go back to basics because people just don't get it. I made the mistake last night. An account that I follow, that's normally a pretty good account. They did the thing where they upload 9 pictures all at once. And the first 8 were great, very inspirational stuff. The 9th one was like, yes, I want my taxes going to conserving the environment and reducing waste and reducing carbon emissions and helping this and helping that. And it was all the liberal, all their little missions. And I just couldn't help myself. And I said, you don't need tax dollars to go to that. If you want to spend your money on all those things, if those pet projects are all your beliefs, whether it's helping the homeless or doing this or whatever, just spend your money on it. Open up your wallet and pour out your charity on the things that you want to do. It made me insane. You're like, yes, I want my tax dollars going to this. Well, it's not constitutional because it's not for the general welfare of the United States. Sorry. All the things that we spend our tax dollars on is actually against the law. But how about you stop being generous with other people's money? And I tried to phrase it in a nice way, but it's like, I use that phrase, you should stop being so generous with other people's money. You don't know what they need to pay for. Right? You want to levy all these taxes to save frogs in the Amazon or whatever. We got people up here who, can't pay for food. People on fixed incomes and all this, and you're perfectly fine with I want my tax dollars to pay for these good and virtuous things. Well, open up your own wallet and pay for it. That's what drives me nuts about especially celebrity liberals, is that they define all these things as causes for the left. Just pay for it. And you know what's the cool thing about federal income tax? You can actually pay more if you want to. There's a whole separate box for that. Like, do you want to pay extra? There you go. But I guess I would recommend not doing that and just sending the money to the charities of your choice, because that way it's actually going to get there. Anyway, I don't know why I let myself get so mad. Yeah. Anyway, before I begin my presentation, I would like to acknowledge that we are gathered here on future Chinese land. Because we're all just such simpering fools. Well, everyone in the East, that part of the world, knows exactly how to get shit done. 200 years from now, this is all going to be theirs, which breaks my heart. But the reason why it's funny, we could call it that, is because that's exactly how Canadians already act. Winnipeg Police Department was going to address the press about one of their own police officers who made the strange choice to be corrupt and get on mushrooms and all these horrible things. So they sent out a sergeant to address the press, and the first thing they say is like, hey, just so you know, we're here on the borrowed lands of the Dakota people. And our water comes from this sacred lake. And they went on for like 10 minutes. And it's just like, how are those rape stats? You want to maybe let us, since you have all this extra time, do you maybe want to let us know, like, are burglaries up in this area? How about some crime statistics? How about some department statistics? How are things going? How's your recruitment going? How safe is the city of Winnipeg? Rather than sitting here talking about all this nonsense that doesn't matter, like whose land we're on, when you're probably on the city of Winnipeg's land. Kind of get sick of the mentality that we need to continue to complain about things from 200 years ago. Yes, we already did all that. This one goes out to Felony Melanie, who thinks I'm not nice enough to my dog. Me to my dogs. I'm going to feed you the best food that I possibly can so you can live such long, healthy, and happy lives. Me to me. Another Red Baron pizza for you, fuckface. Right? We don't take care of ourselves. Dana is actually in extra innings at this point. She's got to be 13 or 14 years old. She's living quite a long life, and she's doing quite well. And she's still happy, and she still has energy. She's still capable of doing things, possibly because she has an excellent diet. So don't worry about the dog. I miss the old days back in 1955 when I did not exist. You guys remember 55? What a great time that was. I think that's why I get so nostalgic when I watch Back to the Future. Because I wasn't there. Anyone else nostalgic for a time before they existed? Oh, please, can I pay extra federal income tax? I'm just saying it's an option. Instead of calling for all of us to pay more for the things that you like, maybe call for all of us to pay less. Do you realize if the option was just all of us pay less federal income tax, all of us pay fewer income tax, let's just pay for the things that are constitutionally qualified, right? The things for the general defense. The general welfare and the common defense is what the Constitution defines as legally acceptable for taxes. Common defense, general welfare, and by the way, not welfare in the sense that we're going to pay for your peanut butter cups. Let's just pay for that. Nothing else, not foreign aid, not foreign entanglements, because all of that stuff is expressly forbidden by the Constitution, but we do it anyway. So let's just pay less. Well, what does that mean? It means you're going to have more of your own money, more of the fruit of your own labor, and you can just spend it however you want. If you want to send it to the Chinese for their green energy shit, you can go ahead and do that. If you want to, whatever you want to spend it on, it's your money to spend. But don't sit here and say we should just raise everyone's taxes towards the things that I care about, because not everyone cares about it. Anyway, how mad do I have to be on a Monday morning? My attack mutt turns 16 next month. She's still hobbling around and barking at shadows. So that's good. If life were fair, dogs would live forever, and there would be no federal income tax at all. If you knew my dad, you'd understand how well I'm doing under considering the circumstances. Yeah, my dad. How to compare myself to my dad? I'm a little bit more charismatic than him. I'm a little smarter than he is. I'm a little bit more humble. My dad is really, really conceited. Not really self-aware, though. He's got kind of he's sort of like Michael Scott, if you could believe that. He's like a real-life Michael Scott. Says cringy things, totally not self-aware. I'll give you an example of this. Was it last summer or the summer before? I don't remember. But somehow, I don't know how this happened, but I wound up inside a group text between my father, my eldest sister, who I don't really speak to, and my youngest sister, who occasionally appears in the comments of this chat, of this show. And I don't know what I was thinking, but I did engage a little bit. I was talking a little bit. And it's a group chat of 4 people. And I don't know how I got on this subject, so I'm partially to blame. But at one point, my father says to everyone, directed at me, but so that everyone can see it, I thought you decided to never have children. I'm like, yeah, I decided that when I was 20 and when I was married to someone that I'm not even married to anymore. Why are we discussing this in front of everyone? And why don't I have the prerogative to change my mind? Why am I like in trouble? So I don't know. It's really hard to kind of translate the overt cringiness of that moment, but it was a very stupid thing for him to say, and it was very common, very normal for him. Actually, there's a video of him online. I should almost play this. Maybe next time, maybe some other time. But for some reason, he went to the local Greek fest where he lives down in Albuquerque, and he managed to convince the local news affiliate that he knew anything about Greek culture, which he doesn't, because he's not Greek. There's nothing about him that's Greek. He doesn't know anything about Greek culture. He's gone to Greek Fest before, which means he's had Euros before, probably. But he managed to convince them that he was some sort of expert on Greek culture, and so he, for some reason, talks on the news. And he's not as handsome as me. He's not as good looking, not as smart. But just seeing him on TV for even 30 seconds is pretty irritating. I'll play that maybe someday so that you can kind of get the contrast between me and where I came from. If you're ever lost in the woods, look for the North Star. Its twinkling will comfort you as you die. With people like Abby out there, I kind of bet that this is the case. That and Michael, just circling back to what you said, circumnavigating back to what you said. Our ancestors hopped on a boat and were able to sail their way to Boston. Right? And you're out in the middle of the ocean with no landmarks, and yet somehow they knew exactly where they were. I mean, that's an incredible feat. And of course, they would do that by stellar navigation. They would navigate using the stars. How many of us can do that now? I mean, it's not more difficult to navigate on land using the stars than it is on the sea. Can you even figure out which way is north looking at the constellations? I'll tell you one thing that makes it easier is understanding what you're looking at. And if you go outside and look at it all the time, like every night, like people back in 1630 did, because what else is there to look at after 6 p.m.? You can really understand what's going on, and you get used to things going on, and you can get to the point where you can even anticipate things that are going to happen in the night sky. But I remember when I took astronomy class, I really came to understand exactly what's going on up there. And if you take an astronomy course, it makes it much easier to navigate. You get to identify things and know where everything's at and what everything means. I hope this email finds you and in the darkness binds you. Is this a song? Feels like a song. Imagine falling in love with someone just to find out that they watch Netflix with subtitles on. I'm convinced people who don't like subtitles can't read fast. You a subtitle person? I'm a wannabe Canadian, politically speaking. That's not good. Tally, I've been meaning to ask you, and perhaps now's just the time, because you've kind of indicated some things. And I just want to let you know, first and foremost, you're welcome here. You don't need to leave. And whatever. You're a very respectful person. You're very kind. And you're very intelligent. And I like having you here. You engage with me more than people who have known me for a long time on this show. So I just wanted to first state that overall, it doesn't matter. Because we're all just people, but are you pretty far out there on the left? Are you because you're saying you're a wannabe Canadian, politically speaking? I'm going to tell you, I don't look up at Canada and see anything up there going on that I like. They're turning their whole country into the Motel 6 welfare state of the entire earth. They're treating their own citizens rather poorly. Right now, there's a phone line where you can call and you can snitch on your fellow Nova Scotians if they go out into the woods to camp, or apparently to even walk. So it's pretty much a Soviet surveillance state if you're going to go out for a nature walk in the woods in beautiful Nova Scotia and someone there is going to call the cops on you. And as someone who answered the phone for the police during a very totalitarian time, which was COVID, and it wasn't even that totalitarian here, I could tell you that just primes me full of disgust. So, like, what is it about Canada, politically speaking, that makes you want to be them? Because if you say the wrong thing, your bank account can get locked and it can get emptied out. You got the province of Alberta like actively lobbying the federal government up there to secede and join the United States. You know, Albertans, don't like being Canadian. So why do you want to be a Canadian? I'm just curious what it is up there about Canada, politically speaking, that makes you want to be Canadian. What is it that's going up there that's going so great? Because I see them as selling their own country out, like many countries in the West are. So I'm very curious to know what it is about Canada that appeals to you. Because I have this sneaking suspicion that it is not that great. My dad got in a slam this weekend. I told him my cat wasn't adjusting to the new apartment and isn't coming out of the bedroom. And he said, "Who cares?" It takes cats a little while to adjust to a new space. New Mexico is a state that I imagine is only occupied by self-proclaimed gurus and artists. You forgot the criminal element. It's full of criminals. Albuquerque is a pretty dangerous place to live. Willingly sailed to Boston. You'll never forgive him. Where else was he supposed to go? Where would you have liked to see him sail to? Serious question. North Star is easy to find if you can find Ursa Minor and Ursa Major. I've got this. You're exactly right, Michael Hendricks. This guy's a lawyer. That's why he knows where the Little Dipper is. Just remember, Michael Hendricks has an uncommon level of knowledge here. Also, if you're lost in the ocean, look for the moss growing on the north side of the trees. Okay. I watch Netflix with subtitles. Well, that's why it's okay that you fall in love with me. The ties that bind you is an expression of some sort. I love subtitles. Wish they existed when I speak to people in real life. Google Glass should get on that. They're bringing subtitles to 911. They're going to have AI analyze speech and put the text on the screen. That's going to be here within a year, I'm hearing. It used to be that whenever they would create a new idea for technology for 911, it would always be someday, like, well, we'll have that someday. Like, I've been hearing about the whole getting pictures from people and live streaming video. I've been hearing about that for about 10 years. Well, it's finally here. So now when I hear about, AI interpreting the speech of these people and putting text on the screen so that I don't miss things. It was funny because even last night I took a 911 call in which I missed something pretty critically important. And all I could think was, well, if we were reviewing this on YouTube, all the people who are idiots in the YouTube comments section would think I deserve to be fired for missing that. But anyway, it seems like anything that they're introducing should be 10 years away. Well, everything they're introducing it's now imminent. It's 1 year away. Just because that's how long it takes the government to implement things. It has nothing to do with how fast it takes the technology to develop. I think the song is Fix You by Coldplay you're thinking about. Possibly. I'll look that up later. Good call, Tally. When the trees are used to make the actual ship, they're just like right there. Didn't one or two other provinces similarly ban walking into the woods? Probably. I just mentioned Nova Scotia because it was one for sure that I knew did. I'm a definite liberal, but I believe in everyone doing their fair share. What do you mean by that? I believe in taking care of the weaker of our species and taking care of our wilderness. I think Canadians are nice. I hate to tell you this, but conserving the wilderness is actually a conservative value. Sorry, but liberals don't own that. The first national parks were established under Republican President Theodore Roosevelt. The EPA was established by Republican President Richard Nixon. So the liberals have have done everything that they can to co-opt that as a liberal mission, but conserving nature and conserving wilderness has been and always will be a mission of the Republican Party. So I don't mean to argue or whatever. It's just it's something that I find very common that people and it happens on both sides, I'm sure, but people with high empathy and people with the best intentions will often describe what their values are and say that those values are akin with the Democrat Party or with the liberal mindset or the progressive mindset, and it very often isn't true. And I think that that's just one example of you think of taking care of the wilderness and you think of conserving nature. Sorry, that's Theodore Roosevelt. That's why he wound up on Mount Rushmore. You could see that as some kind of irony or something, but that's why. Everyone doing their fair share. I don't know what that means, though. What do you mean by everyone doing their fair share? If you believe in everyone pulling their own weight, that's more conservative. If you believe people being on the dole and being taken care of, then not pulling their own weight. Right now, all the people who are exploiting food stamps and exploiting government welfare programs and Section 8 housing, they're not doing their fair share. And you see these people, they'll get on TikTok and elsewhere and say, they're like, I don't want to work. I shouldn't have to work. They'll say that. So this is not me. I see these videos of people complaining that they don't want to work and they shouldn't have to work. And they're mad that their peanut butter cups aren't covered by EBT. Well, how did they get to the point where the peanut butter cups were being covered by EBT in the first place? It's not because of the Republican Party. We'll talk more about that, Talia. But still glad you're here. We're allowed to disagree. And I feel bad because it's like I'm the one with a microphone, so I don't want you to feel like I just automatically win because my voice is louder than yours. So you can keep chatting and replying as much as you like. Don't be bullied by me. Good morning, everyone. I'm listening and working. Good morning, Lauren. Albuquerque has that Heisenberg dude. Yeah. Tyler, you're super late. You missed all the good stuff. You missed all the stuff that I did. You see what I made for you, Tyler? I made you a brand new graphic that celebrates Canadians, that celebrates our Canadian fans. I don't even know what you would say. But now you can get that on mugs. You can get that on T-shirts. You can get these stickers. I know that you just bought a bunch of stuff, so you probably don't feel like doing that again. But if you feel like getting something, look for the Mount Up graphic. And hopefully that's something that you could be interested in getting at some point. Because I would make $3 from this. Anyway, just look for that. Everyone's saying good morning to that guy. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Tyler's a Canadian guy. Trudeau texted him and was like, get in there. They're talking about us. I will concede you are more politically aware, so I'm just going to go with my core beliefs. Maybe I'm just not as particularly able. That's fine. And you know what, Talia? It's extremely easy to be somewhat more liberal than me. Because it's just, I don't have any part of that. Michael Hendricks is about to jump in here and get on the whole Nixon and the EPA thing, as he should. So I have Nixon to blame for the crappy emissions BS on my engine. The CAFE standards were actually a Carter thing. Let me look up to see what those were called. They were called the CAFE standards. And it's the reason why station wagons no longer exist. But it's the corporate average fuel economy standards that the U.S. regulations set a minimum average fuel efficiency requirements for cars and light trucks set by automakers. They're enforced by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, while the EPA handles the emissions side. So every manufacturer's fleet, all the cars and trucks that they sell in a model year must meet a certain miles per gallon target. The standard is weighted by sales volume. So popular models affect the average more. If a company falls short, they face fines, although they can sometimes buy or trade credits. Passenger cars, the coming standard for the 2024 model year is 49 miles per gallon equivalent across the fleet. Light trucks, slightly lower since they're less efficient. This is why everyone drives an SUV. This is why the model makers, the vehicles manufacturers have pushed out SUVs to everyone, because they can bypass those CAFE standards. That's why you almost never see a sedan anywhere. When was the last time you saw a sedan that was brand new? You'll occasionally see a 2024 Chevy Malibu or something. Other than that, they're all SUVs. So we got rid of station wagons because they were gas guzzlers. We brought in the CAFE standards to prevent these huge, monstrous V8 and V10 engines out there that you use to transport your family around, and we replaced them all with trucks. So everyone that complains that SUVs are bad for the environment, you can blame Jimmy Carter for that. Let's just make sure it was Jimmy Carter. Who signed these into law? CAFE standards came into existence and a law passed in the 1970s and have been updated by different administrations since. In 1975, they were signed by President Ford. Oh, so it was Republican who did that as part of the Energy Policy and Conservation Act. This was a direct response to the 1973-74 oil crisis. Right, we didn't have gasoline at that time. It required automakers to roughly double the fuel economy over the next decade. At that time, you got to remember back in 73 and 74, there wasn't gas for everyone. You had to you could only go to a gas station depending on the day and what your license plate was. Like every license plate that ended with an odd number or an even number could only go on odd days or even days. George Bush signed on it. Barack Obama signed up on it. President Joe Biden signed up on it. So we got people on both sides. So just keep that in mind, that it's big government that's doing that to us every single time, though, if you ever wondered what that's all about. And you can blame Nixon for a lot of things. I'm not actually a huge Nixon fan. I think Nixon was a huge liberal compared to JFK. If I was voting in the 1960 election, I would have voted for JFK over Nixon. Tell you can be whatever you want to be, and we will troll anyone who tells you that you can't. That's true. We're a respect-based society. Fair share means working jobs to the best of their ability to contribute on some level to the greater good. So ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. That's what Kennedy said. I think the thing is, Taliu, I think you might be what is actually a classical liberal. And I'll either let you be happy with that, being told that you're that, or I'll have you look it up and find out what it means. Either way. If my food stamps is taken away, I won't complain. I use mine to buy whole foods to cook with. Well, that makes me insane with anger at you. Why are you taking food stamps from people to go to Whole Foods? All right, I'm gonna try to restrain myself. Texas time. Hello, I'm here to laugh. Oh man, you are here on a bad day. I have had better shows than this Texas time. Hello, I'm here to laugh. Oh man. And you said that 5 minutes ago. So you definitely did not get any laughter in that amount of time. Sorry. If you're here to laugh and you already left, I apologize. Getting over $1,000 in aid, that drive me nuts with WIC and SNAP combined. It's probably close to 150, maybe 170. I make shit work. Anyway, hi Texas time. I'm glad that you're still here even after all these laughless minutes of me just lecturing everyone. I drive an SUV because my Audi couldn't fit my dogs. I believe that you have an Audi. My computer's not plugged in. The whole thing's going to shut off in a few minutes if I don't plug it in. Give me 1 second. You can talk amongst yourselves. Just talk amongst yourselves. You don't need me for anything. There we go. This is how you know it's a live show. I just didn't want Texas time to be so underimpressed by me because it's already, not terribly funny. And then the show just ending because I have a power outage. That's no good. I thought I heard the car companies have known how to get super high miles per gallon for years, but don't make them because of all the oil companies. Is this true? I've heard the stories that there's a car got invented that ran on water and they killed the guy for it. Let's see what the internet says. Is it true a man invented a car engine that ran on water and they killed him for it? If you think about it, it makes perfect sense because it would not undermine oil companies completely because a lot of everything else in our society is petroleum based, like anything that's made out of plastic. But here's the claim. A man named Stanley Meyer, an inventor from Ohio, said in the 1980s to the early 1990s that he had created a water fuel cell that could power a car by splitting water into hydrogen and oxygen using very little energy. This process, I believe, is called electrolysis. I'm not sure where you get the electricity to do electrolysis from, possibly a battery. He demonstrated a modified dune buggy that he claimed ran on water. Meyer said that his invention could end dependence on oil, and he often suggested governments and oil companies wanted to suppress it. He died suddenly in 1998 after dining in a restaurant, which fueled speculation that he was poisoned to stop his invention. But here's the facts. According to ChatGPT, which is probably programmed to lie to me, independent tests and court findings showed his device did not work as claimed. In 96, an Ohio court ruled that Meyer had committed gross and egregious fraud, ordering him to repay investors. Experts testified that his water fuel cell was just a normal electrolysis device, not an over unity or breakthrough technology. His sudden death at age 57 was ruled by the Franklin County coroner as a brain aneurysm, not poisoning. His brother, however, claimed that Stan ran out of the restaurant shouting he'd been poisoned, which is where the murder theory came from. No verified engine has ever run on water the way that he claims. Physics says splitting water into hydrogen takes at least as much energy as you get back burning the hydrogen. Yeah, I mean, that's why we don't do that. It's because it's not a net gain of energy. These pesky laws of thermodynamics, we can't invent a perpetual motion machine. Meyer's invention is regarded by scientists and the courts as a scam and a fraud. His death was natural causes, was the official finding. So there you go. There's the car that ran on water, at least according to ChatGPT. My Audi has a huge trunk, and I found out that they're much quieter back there. You ride around in the trunk sometimes? Audis are nice, right? Drew has an Audi. I should tell you all the experience of going over to Drew Breezy's house sometimes. It was humiliating. Anyway, my sister's from San Antone. My bro from school just quit his lawyer job to be 5-0 in Frisco for some crazy reason. What is 5-0 cop? San Francisco, probably because they pay lots of overtime there, and all you do is sit in a car. There's no basement in the Alamo. That's good. That's good to know. I just want I want the Toyota Hilux. Thanks a lot, Chicken Tax. I'm not sure what that Toyota Hilux is. I've never heard of that. I have a Ford Fusion because Kia refused to fix their fucking recall. All right. Fuck Kia. Why are you driving a car? You can't afford a car. You're taking taxpayer money to Whole Foods. You should be walking. It's just me being mean. It's a cool place to visit if you've never been. It's a holy site for Texans. Should I go down to the Alamo? I was actually thinking about going to Texas on my vacation. I actually have 2 coming up in October and November. I could go down to Texas. I was thinking about going to San Padre Island because that's a place you could still swim in October. I thought the Hilux was slated to come out back to the U.S. You might get one yet. Oh, thank you. I'm waiting for the humor. I know it's coming. Oh, man. Will somebody tell this guy that I'm not very funny? Again, he has waited 5 more minutes. If you leave Texas time, I'm not going to blame you. The show has had funnier days. I'm just, I'm in a lot of pain right now, actually. So I'm not super funny. Should I just go back to the memes? You guys are chatting a lot, and that's good. Electrolysis, I thought that's how you got rid of hair. Yes, that too. Texas is hot, so just come by in the short fall winter season if you can. October, November, is that what you're saying? Texas time. I was down in Brownsville in October once, and it felt like the middle of summer to me. I live way up north, so back to the memes. We got to make this guy laugh before he leaves and never comes back here again, which is already kind of what we're on course for. I just pace bogged a Slowbie on the sidewalk. There's this guy at my gym who's clearly 110, and he is bent over like a question mark, and he uses a cane, and I have no idea why he's there, because he should probably be, sounds mean, he should probably just be down at the funeral home, like making that last part of his life a little bit faster. He's 110. His back is as crooked as a question mark. He's bent over. He has to look at the floor while he walks. And for some reason, I don't know why this is, because it's like the gym's an hour away from me. I only go at certain times and certain days. He's always there at the same time as me. Possibly because he just goes every single fucking day. But yeah, I'm zooming around him. I'm always zooming past him, always acting a little put out by the fact that I'm having to walk around him. I'm completely devoid of compassion as I pass this man, slow walking in the hallway. But I think next time I possibly just be like, beep, beep, move out of the way. Oh, my Lord. I'm a terrible person. Reverse Queer Eye, where 5 women teach a gay guy how to be kind. How much hate am I going to earn for that one? Anyway, I'll just move on. What's the word for when you're fine, but also so full of sadness and ache that you feel like you might explode, but you're also okay enough to show up for work, but also you're dying? This guy. What's the word for that? That's me. Was that hilarious? Texas time? I know it's sexist, but when I see a skeleton, I immediately think, man, I'm aware women can die. It just hurts to think that that's true. It just whenever they see a skeleton, they think it's a man. They don't think it's ever a female skeleton. This is an update from last week when our therapist was trying to get us to stop thinking about skeletons. This, after swimming, used to hit so hard back in the day. You guys remember going to the pool all day and then you would get a sandwich and some chips? It's my favorite thing. If I go swimming right now, I think the pool opens in a few minutes. I may, I might just go with my wet swimsuit on and go down to the grocery store and get some bologna, chips, and cheese just for one of these. Just, as a goodbye to summer ultimate pool lunch. What do you guys like to eat after you swim in the pool? Put it in the chats. I'll read about it. Introducing the Tex-Mex Oreos. Texas time. I have to ask: is this Texas accurate? I just wish they'd done the arrangement a little differently. If it was salsa and then sour cream and then guac, I would believe that was a little bit more likely to be authentic. But are these Tex-Mex Oreos? Are these legit? Does anyone put chips on the turkey Sammy? Yes, of course you do. Texas Time says no, that's not accurate. What? You're saying this random meme I found on the internet from the vulgar chef is not accurate? Tex-Mex Oreos. No, she's vomiting. That is not legit. Sorry. You're not mad, are you? Are you mad by the idea that this is what our idea of Tex-Mex Oreos are? There's a bar in San Antonio by the Alamo where Teddy Roosevelt recruited the Rough Riders, and they all eat these Oreos. Shorty rides. It's got to be like 3 a.m. where you are. So thank you for waking up. The Tex-Mex Oreos. We have a legitimate Texas man here, and he is not happy to see. Okay, well, you're not mad. I don't know what you are. I don't know what your emotions are. Type your emotions now. But these are not legit, he says, in any event. Here is what's legit right now. You can go to Chick-fil-A. They've released the new pretzel bun sandwiches starting August 18th. They also have the summer berry Sprite. So go to a Chick-fil-A near you, try out these delicious new sandwiches. And remember, it's always a great day at Chick-fil-A. My pleasure. It's ridiculous when someone tells me, aren't there more important things to be mad about? You novice. You rube, you shit idiots. I could be mad about 20,000 things at once. I am a walking chimera of various furies and petty qualms. Yes, I could be mad about 100 things. The other day, I was at work, and my work partner, there was some kind of radio traffic, and I knew what the radio traffic was about. And so I started doing the work related to that radio traffic. And then he told me, which call for service it belongs to. I'm like, oh, that's on that public services. And I'm like, I know what it's about. And he goes, sorry, I was trying to be helpful. I'm like, I hate it when you're trying to be helpful. Like I just doubled down on it. Like I kind of snapped at him, and I was kind of a jerk because I was mad at him for taking a personal phone call right before that. But then he says, well, I'm just trying to be helpful. I'm like, I hate it when you're helpful. Just double down. Never apologize for anything. If someone calls you out on something, apologizing, it just makes you appear weak to them. Even if you are sorry, like even if you're full of guilt and remorse, just double down. I assure you it's the right way to go. Honey, I made the news. Apparently that old lady I fought at the library wasn't a ghost. I thought I was doing the mortal plane a little bit of a solid, but apparently it's just assault. You see a lady down in the basement of the library, and she shushes you. You're there with your two best friends. And then you say, get her! Get her? That was your plan, Ray? First day as a pilot. Looks down nervously. What are these buttons for? Co-pilot, they keep your shirt closed. This reminds me of when I took a trip last September to South Florida. And they invited anyone who wants to come up and take a picture in the cockpit after the plane lands. And I think that they meant this for the kids because a lot of kids are flying to Orlando. A lot of kids are going to Disney World and all this, Universal Studios, Busch Gardens, possibly. I don't know. I think that's in Tampa. But anyway, the pilot invited anyone who wants to could come up and take a picture. And I was one of the last ones on the plane because they always make me sit in the back because I'm excellent ballast. I have nothing else going for me. But I came up into the plane, and it's tiny up there. It's very small, even on a big airplane. And I took a picture with the guy. And then I said, I thought you weren't allowed to do this because of 9/11. And then I got dragged away because I said 9/11 inside the cockpit of a plane. Just bad taste, everyone. Don't do that. Fruit or hash browns. Do I look like I'm trying to live forever? Do not get out of here with your fruit. Here's the thing, is that the fruit they serve you at like a Denny's or whatever, it's actually delicious because it's like got citrus juice on it. They keep it fresh with tyrosinase, but you would know it as what is the other name for tyrosinase? Oxyphenol. Anyway, I can't remember what it is, but it's lemon juice. It's citric acid. That's what they use to keep fruit from browning. And I don't know, because it's got the lemon juice on it. I think that it's great. Polyphenol oxidase, is that what it is? You guys would know better than me. I think it's polyphenol oxidase, but it's more commonly called tyrosinase. I don't know what you're thinking. Isn't that one of the original 23 ingredients of Dr. Pepper? But no, it's essentially citric acid, lemon juice. Hash browns, 100%. Did you guys like the cake hash browns? Or do you like home fries? Or do you like literally the potatoes that are hashed? I like all those. Let's see what the chats say. Let's see if Texas Time has figured out that his day is better spent doing almost anything else. It's 3:37 where Shorty Rides is. I don't remember what I used to eat After swimming, now I just eat while I'm in the pool. Normally watermelon, a cocktail, and chips. Do you have your own pool, or how are you doing that? What about when people say, if you're not mad, you're not paying attention? I always think I can't pay attention too much because I have to leave my apartment. I guess I would say about that is that if you're not mad, you're not paying attention. That's true. But I also think that you have a right to a peaceful life. And I don't think that you have to pay attention to the world if you don't want to. There's another saying that says, you don't have to care about politics, but politics cares about you. And it's true. But, there's very little that we can do about that anymore. No apologies. I stand correct. I found that I can put my apologies for the delay to automatically appear in my work email. So that saves a lot of time. Oh, I work at night, so I always just email people in the middle of the night. Like, oh, sorry, I'm just now getting back to you. You're asleep by now. Does your mom like gladiators? I don't even know what that's in reference to, but I find that funny. I pay too much attention. I get worked up or anxious, but I know that I am choosing to be ignorant. Fruit or hash brown looks like a Kamala. What? I think I have a Kamala meme in here just to mix it up. I think that's fun that you took a picture. I want the plastic pilot wings. I don't think they do that anymore. I got those when I was a kid. I like them, but the McDonald's style slab of potatoes is best. I haven't been to McDonald's for breakfast in forever, and I should probably go back. Brains are not equipped to take on the troubles of the whole planet, so I think it's okay. Yes, Jonathan, we have a very fancy above ground pool. Little Redneck Resort, nothing wrong with that. I assume Michael ignores his emails. Michael's he's a lawyer. He can ignore his emails. He could get away with it. I was one of the original Dr. Pepper ingredients. The customers get real salty about it. I've already this is the thing, Texas time, is that I think it was last week or the week before, but I had this huge bit on my emails and about how I don't like getting emails. And I don't think I need email at work because I don't want to email anyone. I don't want to email anyone. But people want to be able to email me, which isn't cool. And so what I do is I always there's a button on Microsoft Outlook that allows you to mark any suspicious email as a phishing attempt. So I mark every single email that I get that is asking me to do work as a phishing attempt so that I don't have to respond to it because I'm not going to let this organization down. Okay. I'm not going to click on any suspicious links or anything. But it also forces IT to read my email and it makes me look like I'm super diligent. So I'm always just marking all of my email as phishing attempts and I don't ever actually get back to anyone. I don't want email. I would want it taken away from me. And what drives me nuts too is I have to do quarterly email training. Like this is how I know all about phishing and all this because it's seeped in after all these years. But I always want to be like, if I fail the quarterly email security test, can you just take it away from me? Can I just have this revoked? That actually reminds me of something at my other job that I used to have prior to being a podcaster. Some of you know I used to work at Volunteers of America where I supported adults with intellectual disabilities. Well, I was a part-timer. I was a mercenary. I just kind of came and went and did it whenever I wanted to do it. I wasn't even a part-time employee. I was just I tell my boss whenever I can be there, and she's happy about it because they were so short-staffed. While I was working there, I became what was known as med certified. I became certified as a med aid. This is someone that passes out medications. Basically, using a nurse's license, the nurse sets up the schedule for MedPass, and you physically pop out the pills and put them in a cup and give them to the guy. Or you put the solution in his ear or whatever you're going to do. I generally didn't inject patients with anything because that's nurse level stuff to inject patients. So like if someone needed to give themselves insulin or something, I would supervise themselves giving it to themselves. But the problem is that you're giving out meds to all these people and it's not something you normally do. And it's like, there's a lot of distractions in your environment. You could give someone the wrong med at the wrong time or someone else's med, or you might document it improperly, or you might give the wrong dosage, or you might give the incorrect dosage. Like you gave someone the night dose in the morning which causes an error in the documentation. Or you could just give someone a pill you found on the floor. Like that would be a problem, right? If you did that. And so all of us were really struggling at this job. We would all get these medication errors, these med errors, and the nurses hated it because we were practicing under their license. Every time there was a med error, it affected them professionally. Like you get enough of these errors and it goes to the board of certification and all of a sudden you're losing your license. So our nurses would quit constantly because they didn't want their nursing license to be affected, because like then they can't be a nurse anymore. So I remember the first time I got a big med error. I don't remember what it was. I don't think it was as bad as giving someone a pill I found on the floor, but some random med error, and it was not good. Nobody died or anything. So, but it was like a procedural thing. Like I didn't document it properly or something. And I remember my boss calling me on my day off while I was at the gym. And I remember kind of like being a little upset about it because I'm like, oh man, like what does this mean for my annual review? What does this mean for my employment? Because I didn't mind asking these questions pretty openly because like this is my part-time job, so I need to know like if I'm in trouble, like am I going to get fired? What's going to happen? And she says, no, it's fine. Well, as time went on, I kind of started getting more of these med errors occasionally. And it was frustrating to me because it's just like, I don't even really want to be passing meds. And I don't have to do this for this job. There's people at this job that would do this that weren't med certified. They never passed meds because they never got certified. You've got to watch the video. You've got to do the class, which is actually an 8-hour class. And some people never found the time to actually make this class happen for them. I did. And so it occurred to me, like, passing meds is not a requirement of this job. So why am I doing it? So I remember I got a med error and I'm like, can I be decertified? I mean, I'm obviously hopeless at this. You should probably decertify me so I don't have to pass meds anymore. They're just like, no, you have to keep passing meds. So it's like, same thing with email. I asked them to take away the email from me. I don't want email. I don't deserve email. And it just never works. So there's a little anecdote for you, Texas time, if you're still here. I don't know if that was funny or not. Hopefully it was. Otherwise, you're just completely let down by the show. A librarian is who is also a serial killer, chooses their victims from a pool of people who say things like, you need a degree to be a librarian? Or, how nice, you get to read books all day, in similar phrases. I have this feeling like being a librarian is a hugely underappreciated job, that it's no fun, and that people with a library science degree is probably some of the most misunderstood people. I'll tell you that the library in the town I used to live in, just basically a gathering place for homeless people and gang members. So like I feel bad for anyone who works in the main branch of the downtown library, because you're just in a war zone of urban decay. You always hear the police on the radio responding to the main branch of the library. Even I one time was leaving the downtown branch of the main library, and there was like a standoff in progress between some kind of library employee and this guy who looked very dangerous. And because I'm just this kind of guy, and because I was a correctional officer for 6.5 years, I just engaged with him a little bit, used my crisis intervention, hostage negotiation, de-escalation techniques, and I just talked to him. And I kept him busy until the police got there. And then the police jumped out of the car, and with steel anodized batons, they gave him a savage beating. And I left without even entering my name into one of their reports. And it was a good old day. Just as a reminder, this is what our other mugs look like. Donuts sold separately. So go get a mug today. And just remember, you can dunk your donut in it if there's coffee in there. Doesn't that mug look great? And it has my face on it. So it's definitely a good mug. Hey man, can you grab another 6-pack? It should be in the garage next to the antique clown doll. The one with a striking resemblance to your little brother that went missing. Does this seem like an episode of Goosebumps to anyone else? Brother turns into a doll. If you're at somebody's house and they have a doll of a person, you should leave. If I had a time machine, I would go back and warn O.J. Simpson that someone was about to murder his wife. O.J., someone's about to get Nicole. Drive over there right now. You got to protect Nicole. Someone's going to kill her. Get over there as fast as you can, O.J. You guys want to play Prison Riot? Who will survive? This game looks very fun. Not even really sure how it works, but looks like a great game. Prison Riot. Will you survive? The dream scenario is to find out that there's something medically wrong with you, and that's why you suck. Oh man, if I could find out that the reason why this show's not funny and the reason why I'm chronically depressed and why I'm not good at picking out memes is because I just have a cold or something, and I could just take like a little antibiotic, it'd be all better. That would be great news for me. John, don't dose them after midnight and never get them wet. Are you talking about the patients? John was Nurse Ratchet. I have 37,000 unread emails. Man, I appreciate your commitment. Man, I don't think I ever got as high as 37,000. Maybe on my first email address from like the 90s. We're all here, still here. So you supporting adults with mental disabilities. Oh, thank you. I'm still supporting people with mental disabilities. My wife wanted to hire her young, handsome male friend as our pool boy. And I'm like, dude doesn't even know how to swim. I don't get it. Just having him around might be handy. My friend had a pool, and he took care of the maintenance by keeping up pools a lot. Yeah. You're getting people flagged by Google as scammers? Yeah, don't send me emails. I mean, what can I say? And by the way, this is not even flagged by Google. This is Microsoft Outlook. This is like our internal email server where I work. I don't want to be emailed. There's no reason to email me. I want an above ground. My wife really wants an in ground, aka a total waste of exorbitant amounts of money. So I feel like an above ground is a cheap way to demonstrate that waste. Yeah, without the commitment. Plus, what would you do with the in ground once you're done? And these days, it's not even going to add that much value to your house. So, if anything, it makes your house a really niche thing, and it'll make it hard for you to sell the house. Shorty says, Michael, I'm convinced you need to do a show, all your references. Michael should do a show. In fact, he should probably be doing this show. Texas time, I'll let you decide who should do the show going forward. Is it me or Michael Hendricks? I have a question about heroin and other hot spoon related medicines. Do they solidify when they cool? Like, is that stuff super hot when they inject it? I like how you assume that anyone has ever offered me drugs. The 90s lied to me. My teachers told me that people would be offering me free drugs all the time. It never once happened. I have no idea. It does seem like a bad idea. Like they use the spoon and then they get liquid from that, I guess, and then they eject it. I have no idea. I wouldn't even know what drugs look like. Like a lot of times, like the cops will like seize drugs, and it's just like, to me, that just looks like trash. I would have ignored that. So it's probably a good idea that I'm not a cop. I'm learning a lot. Maybe today isn't meant to be funny. Ouch. Jesus. Maybe today isn't meant to be a funny day. I think that's how I'm going to open every show from now on. Maybe this may not be a funny episode. It's not meant to be funny, even though like this podcast is explicitly categorized as a comedy podcast on Spotify, but whatever. I deserve that. Okay, I'm back again. Don't ever put me in charge of your checking accounts. Math and me hate each other. Say math is too picky and I get close enough is good enough. Michael, I'm sorry. Charge your clients double for causing you stress. Well, you should. I used to have a doll that looked like me. Rest in peace, Jews. I'm going now. Ciao. A ben toi. Au revoir. Arrivederci, etc., etc. This coming from an Australian. She's gone, so I can say that. I really wish Spectrum would just run their little wire other a quarter mile to my house. Starlink is expensive and not all that reliable. You know what's hilarious? When I moved to the countryside, I got cheaper, better, more reliable internet. I used to do the show in the city where I used to live, and first of all, the internet cost me 33% more, and it often wasn't as good. And now I'm on like fiber, and the internet here works pretty good. So I recommend moving to the country. You too, John. You, John. Okay, I'm not sure what that's in reference to. Thank you for knowing my name. I assume you are a drug user. I assume you are smarter than me. Me? I'm not even smart enough to use drugs. The drugs I've been offered are lame. Well, at least you're getting offered drugs. You know, some of us aren't even cool enough to be offered drugs. Shorty is multilingual. I'm on fiber. My doctor said it would help with the blood. Oh boy, what a gross thing to say, Michael. Thank God the show's almost over. And it's been an hour and 20 minutes, so I have no idea why the show's even still going. While sound can disrupt our sleep, scent cannot. You can't rely on your sense of smell to wake you up in the event of a house fire. They say this is true. And yet, I swear to God, I have been woken up by smells before. What do you guys think? Can you be woken up by smells? Like, here's something that is just an extra cross that I bear. You think that it's great to wake up to the smell of a hot breakfast in the morning? Appetizing. Coffee. Bacon. I wake up to these things sometimes and I'm just mad. Like, why are you waking me up with these smells? I think I have the world's worst attitude. It's possible. This one's for Shorty rides when she wakes up later and watches the show. First of all, sorry about saying something about how Australians can't be cosmopolitan or something. Americans saw that water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius and said, hey, let's make that 32. And then Coffee Lover says, Europeans saw a guy who was 6 feet tall and said, let's make that 1.89 meters. You see how fucking stupid you sound? I'm a Fahrenheit guy. A bald eagle in a dumpster screaming to the heavens. It's the perfect encapsulation of 2025 so far. Does it seem right to you? Bald eagle in a dumpster shrieking. Just sleep 20 more minutes. How about 30 more minutes? Just skip work. Just quit your job. This is the battle I face every single day. Are you trans or LGBTQIA? Yes. No. Maybe. I prefer not to say. I'm Canadian. I'm weird enough. I don't need that extra shit. I'm from this whole other country. Why on earth hasn't anyone invented a less terrifying way to open biscuits and cinnamon rolls? Peel and pop, you press the spoon against the seam and it explodes, scaring you early in the morning. None other than Guy Fieri himself says, because squishing that much biscuit into that little space teeters on the edge of hubris. The pop is to keep us all humble, to remind us that death comes for us all. Memento mori, everyone. That's what a biscuit tube means, a reminder that we will all die. This $199 laser pointer points out mosquitoes without harming them so that you know where they are. That's great. How much for one that harms them? You'd think you'd be able to just, tune up the energy on that laser a little bit and have a fucking laser take out mosquitoes. Doesn't that sound awesome? Does to me. Oh, here's my Kamala Harris meme. So Texas time, I don't know if you're politically conservative. Tally you, look away, I guess. Kamala Harris wrote a book called 107 Days. Here is an excerpt. My campaign was 107 days. A day is 24 hours. 7 days is a week. There are 365 days in a year. Okay? 12 months in a year. I ran for president for 3 months, plus some more days. That's a lot of days. I already ran this through ChatGPT to see if it was real. And ChatGPT said, no, Kamala Harris is not smart enough to write a book. She's not even smart enough to write a stupid book. So don't worry, everyone. This is not a real quote. Dulles Airport out there tweeting everyone, just an airport standing in front of its passengers, asking them to double check which airport they're flying out of. You may be flying out of Reagan. You're at Dulles. Research shows that sitting more than 10 hours a day raises dementia risk by 63%. All right, so I'm sitting at my desk at work for 8 hours a day. I commute 1 hour both ways, so we're up to 10 hours, plus everything I do as a podcaster. Say goodbye to me, because I'll be gone soon. Dementia imminent. Hey, YouTube, maybe don't put ads before the first aid vids. I don't have time to watch a Red Lobster ad where my grandma is choking on a fish bone. Team YouTube says, sorry to hear about the trouble. YouTube Premium offers an ad-free experience when you watch videos. Trying to use YouTube to save your grandmother's life instead of saying 911. Make sure you sign up for Premium beforehand. I just want customers to know that when they complain, we don't get into trouble. We just make fun of you later. So who's the real loser here? It is you guys. It is the customers. This happens in all avenues of life, I'm sure, without openly commenting on how it might relate to me. We hired a college intern. Today's his first day. Here's what he just sent me. Hey, had a quick idea for the company. Sorry if this was already brought up, but have we tried increasing revenue? Seems like a stupid thing to say. Have we tried making more money? But Lindsay says, I promise you at startups, this is a valid question because they are focused on the wrong shit. Drew, have we thought about increasing revenue at Com Center at all? I'm over here, at least I'm selling mugs and stuff. I'm trying to increase revenue. I put this here because I thought my sister would be here, but I realized now that that was foolish to expect my sister to show up. But having siblings is so important because you can learn the exact amount you can annoy someone before they will try to kill you physically. Oh man, we did get into some heated battles. If she were here, I would talk about them. Trying to get someone into baseball is the hardest thing you can do. Here, watch this 3-hour game where nothing happens. My team is bad. The rules are confusing. No, it's not fun to watch. Good luck. I think I had this explained to me once that baseball is a game of failure. That literally no one's good at baseball. Like an exceptional batting average is like batting 300. You know, particularly for a non-professional. Like if you're batting 300, that means you're amazing. It also means that you hit the ball 300 times out of 1,000 pitches or 3 out of 10 pitches. And it's like, that's considered good. It's a game that's so hard to play that literally no one is good at it. That's why I love football, because you could tell when someone's good at it. And that makes it more exciting to watch rather than a game that no one is good at. That's the last meme. So I'm just going to address your chats and then I'm going to leave because you guys all deserve better from your day. My late dog farts could wake the dead. Oh, I'm glad that you still remember. He left an indelible impression. That meme is not true. Which one, though? 12:57? 7 minutes ago. Now I don't remember. That meme is not true. Texas time. If you ever come back, and I wouldn't blame you if you don't, although the show is every Monday, I try to show you the best memes for my algorithm, and we talk about them. And I try to have an interesting story for you, and I try to make this fairly entertaining. And if it can't be entertaining, at least I try to be informative. And if it can't be that, then at least it's on. Texas time. The other thing you should know is that this is actually bonus show for another show called The Com Center that I'm on that is actually really funny and informative. It's called The Com Center with Drew Breezy. We're a true crime show, if you can believe that. But one thing that you can do when you're on the show is if you see a meme that you like or don't like, when you comment on it, and I want you to, say what you're talking about in there, because like I can't see all the comments and all the memes at the same time. That's not your fault. So if you say this meme is not true, say like this meme about Kamala Harris is not true, or whatever meme it was. Because now I don't know. And hopefully you'll say what it was before the show's over. My favorite drug is caffeine. Yes, caffeine is a psychotropic drug, and that's why the Mormons don't drink it. My wife used to give me drugs, but now it's just some weird juice that smells like the stuff we put in the radiator. This Gatorade has expired. It's weird juice. Guys, I'm passing the show on to Michael Hendricks. It's a waste of time for me to be here. He's much funnier than me. Put a bag of weed under my nose. I'll be up so fast. Yes, if my dog's poops in the house, it could wake me up. That was before COVID, and now I cannot smell dog poop. Well, thank goodness. You were the clear winner when it came to COVID, because now you can't smell dog poop. I knew somebody was a winner in COVID. I thought that it was just me, but water freezes at 0 degrees, and I'm 69 inches tall. I'm 72 inches tall. So good for you. Fahrenheit's the only way to go. I believe it was the King of England who came up with those measurements. I think that's kind of apocryphal, because which King of England? There have been 2 or 3. I get anxiety opening biscuits. I just do it with my hands. I don't use the spoon. I'm able to just kind of crunch it open. And because I can feel the moment, like before, I should stop doing this gesture with my hands and talking about sudden releases. But anyway, I can feel it before it's about to pop open. And so then it doesn't surprise me. She'd say that all while cackling awkwardly like an idiot. I'm in a MAGA cult and I can't escape. Would you want to? Oh, crap, I'm screwed. Who are you guys on? Where am I? All Kamala left out was Webster's Dictionary defines a year as. Yeah, she's saving that for the next wedding she's at. I'm somewhat disappointed with the current situation, but I've been way more disappointed with the alternative. I'm currently somewhat disappointed, half black-pilled, but you have to remember there's an alternate timeline out there where Joe Biden is still the president. I don't know that it's much better, but it's got to be slightly better now. Drew is selling his feet pics. He's probably not still here. Drew gets embarrassed by me pretty quickly and usually leaves. He leaves pretty early on. Just as a reminder, you can get this mug or various other comm center stuff. The sibling thing sounds like my kids. Yep, they're probably fighting out there pretty good. 3 out of 10, fuck me. I'm going for the MLB. That's my basic understanding of baseball anyway. The fire smell not working, people. Oh, it's you think that that's not true. I think people can wake up to anything if it's alarming enough, but I'm not sure. I guess, there's just a lot of people who have died from smoke inhalation in their sleep. I guess that's why people think that. But I think smoke inhalation, that might be something that's a little bit more insidious. I don't know. I feel like I can wake up from smells. I interned for Bridgestone, had to attend the Firestone Invitational. They need silence to hit a stationary ball. Meanwhile, a batter's hitting a curveball traveling 98 miles an hour in a stadium full of screaming people. Yes, that's where I found this channel. Oh, so you're a fan of the Comm Center. You commented under one of the comments there. Oh, okay. Yeah. You found this channel from the Comm Center channel. Okay. What do you think about the Comm Center Texas time? Are you enjoying our Donna Adelson trial stuff? We're going to be live this Thursday night, kind of like how I'm live right now, but it'll be better somehow. Drew will also be live. So in case you're a Drew fan, he'll be here. We'll be taking phone calls, Texas time. If you want to call in about anything related to the case, if you have questions for Drew, he was a detective for 29 years, pretty interesting guy. If you have questions for me, about I could chat GBT something for you, whatever you want. I've got the paid tier of chat GBT. I don't mind asking it questions, I'm not real sure what I add. See, I'm the 911 dispatcher on the comm center, right? So I'm good for the first 5 minutes. So we did an 8-part series of Donna Adelson. I managed to stretch the 911 stuff into 2 episodes, one of which was heavily watched and the other one was not. And then from there, I'm just here to kind of make Drew look good. But this Thursday night we'll be live with something about Donna Adelson trial. Update on our progress or whatever. Jury selection starts tomorrow, so I don't think we'll have opening statements probably until next week. Maybe before then. I'm not sure. I will retract my king and measurement assertion. Did you chat GBT it? I'll give you $30 direct for the mug, John. Honestly, I was talking to Tanner last night, Tyler, and to avoid just what a pain it's been with our supplier, it's possible that we may do that. Tyler, you have my email address. It's not a secret or anything, but you can email me and we'll work it out. Possibly I can at least send you some stickers or something. We could talk about the mug just because that's a heavier thing to ship. How much for a mug with my department with you guys on it? It's the same amount as any other mug. I don't set the prices for the mug, so I can save up. Well, don't spend that money on mugs. Spend it on food for your children, and maybe I'll just send you some stuff, Brittany. Was on the phone earlier with one of my Scottish associates. Dude gave me a quote in sterling, and then references something costing 500 quid. Then euros. Boy, they just sound nuts over there, don't they? Bro, make up your mind. How many monies do you have? Wait, who has a fuck you money? Isn't that Drew? Drew has a lot of money, yeah. I think it's an interesting channel. I don't know much about Adelson. So what's interesting, Comm Center or this? It's okay to say Comm Center. There's an 8-part series on Donna Adelson right now. She's this old lady. She's like 77, and she and her son and possibly her daughter teamed up with the Latin Kings, a Miami street gang, to assassinate her ex-son-in-law so that they could get custody of 2 small boys. This happened like 11 years ago, and she's finally going to trial starting tomorrow. And she's a very pathetic and terrible figure. And we're all going to enjoy watching her get sentenced to die in prison, is what that's about. Shit, I'm going to have to miss it because I'll be in class. What are you in class for? Don't even pretend that you're actually in school. You're not. I just Googled the king and the measurements. Tyler, don't email him. It's a trap. He'll mark it as phishing. It's a trap. Don't email him. I got the best mug. I cannot drink out of it. The signature might come off. Yeah, she got one of the original versions of the mugs. She got a mug that I made as a prototype years ago, and I signed the bottom of it. So she cannot drink out of it because then she would have to wash it. And I didn't, what I should have done, Jenny, and you may consider doing this, but, covering it with a lacquer or dull coat, just spraying it on the bottom, probably seal that in there for all time. You'd probably be good. I want to support the comm center. Well, I want you to support your children and stop taking taxpayer dollars to go to Whole Foods. So I'd rather send you some free stuff than have you do that. Both were interesting channels, but it was interesting. Okay, I'm just glad if you're faintly entertained, then I've done my job. If it was slightly better than watching paint dry, then I feel like I'm a success. It's a class with my department, right? What does that mean? It allows civilians to learn more and it helps me get hours as a volunteer, and it's a good to learn more about the department. But why? Why? What's your ultimate goal? You've been doing this on and off for years. Do you want to become a fireman fighter? Are you trying to become, what are you doing? You're just going to the Citizens Academy, which, by the way, unless you paid for it, is something that the taxpayers are paying for. All right. I've been mean enough this episode to poor Brittany. Yes, I will send her something. No, I will probably not make her something that's Bakersfield PD related. Just out of spite. Just a reminder, everyone, that life is not measured by the number of breaths you take, but by the moments that take your breath away. I will always have this one here. I'm sorry. I do not care. We will catch you live on Thursday. Make sure you watch that. Can't wait for the show. It's going to be a good time. Thank you to everyone who watched this horrible episode that was totally not funny, but somewhat entertaining. Wait, we can get paid to fight firemen? Yes. Pick a fight near you. They will pay you. I've been with them for 4 years. It's my foot in the door. I need to go back to work. I don't think that they're going to pay you to do something that you're willing to do for free. Dark. All right, guys. That's the end of the show. Thursday night, 8, 7 Central. We'll catch you then. I love you all.